Mike Ganter along with Steve Simmons. Steve, I mean, Game 5 was just a complete whitewash for the Raptors. We haven't seen this yet this series. This was as complete as it gets.
You know, when you think about it, and you look at Game 3 of this series, I think in many ways, Game 3 of the series, the blowout, Milwaukee blowing out the Raptors, basically showed this team what it needs to do and how it needs to change. And what we saw tonight was almost the opposite of Game 3, with the Raptors blowing out the Milwaukee Bucks in a game that was really never close.
No, and I don't think it's a coincidence that since they put Norm Powell in the starting lineup, this team has changed. That matchup is much better suited to the Bucks than the 5 that they were starting before.
Well, what was impressive for me tonight wasn't just what Norman Powell did, which was impressive by itself. It was the way the balanced scoring went. DeRozan, Lowry, Powell, DeMar Carroll, who has really not been scoring at all, scoring tonight. Valanciunas coming off the bench scoring. I think all 5 of the starters were in double figures. You don't often see that, and I think 2 other players were in double figures. I think 7 different Raptors were in double figures.
Yeah, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Kyle Lowry here. I mean, he started the day sort of iffy that he might even play. He got a bad back, and he comes out. I mean, I know we saw him at every timeout and at every break, he was either on his back or standing because he couldn't sit down. But I mean, his performance was it was a tour de force.
Ice is his friend. Yeah. He was lying on the court. He was lying on the bench. I mean, it's a hard thing for a coach to know. When do you put your guy in? When do you not? What do you do? How do you do it? And in Kyle Lowry, I think Kyle Lowry's one like that figure from the old movies. When you cut the arms off, he keeps fighting. You cut his legs off, he keeps fighting. I don't think he'd ever stop fighting because that's who he is. But tonight, we've all had back issues at one time or another. You're very debilitating to try and play through that and to play through it in a game of this significance.
Yeah. So that's it from us. Game 6 will go Thursday back in Milwaukee. Raptors will try to close out the Bucks and move on to round 2. For Steve Simmons, I'm Mike Ganter for Post Media.